Hi everyone, my name is Erin Elizabeth Wamberg. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Today we're talking about how to reframe rejection. So this is a very charged topic for a lot of us, and that's because rejection, most of us are taught that rejection is so embarrassing. It's one of the worst things that can happen to you. It's like socially so demoralizing, and it's a lot of self-judgment, and there's a lot of pressure placed on the self that you did something wrong to be rejected. So the way it's presented to a lot of us is that there's something wrong with you if you get rejected from something. That's obviously not true, and I'm going to go through that in the video, but we just want to identify that as the first thing of why rejection, even that word, I feel like has so much emotional charge for a lot of us. So it's the first thing, is that there's a societal pressure packed onto it. And then the second thing is, of course, a lot of us in our childhood have some childhood wounding around rejection. It could be from your family, it could be from a friendship, it could be from society if you don't fit into some of these mainstream bullshit things that we're supposed to fit into, these dominant narratives, right? So if we don't fit into that, we can have some of our early programming and socialization is very much set around some of our childhood wounding or things we learned in childhood, that something is wrong with us because we don't match into these certain things that are going on. Or, if we were seemingly rejected or actually were by our caregivers, or if we internalized that something was our fault that wasn't when we were children, right? So there's a lot of reasons why rejection can feel so intense and like so much. And so the first thing I want to say is, if this is a big triggering topic for you, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Most of us are pushed into thinking like that and thinking about ourselves like that anyway. So I'm going to go through a few ways that we can reframe this. And the first thing that we can think about is, I'm sure this is one of the most common statements about rejection, reframing rejection. Rejection is protection. Okay, rejection is protection. So that by itself is an affirmation. It's something you can say to yourself over and over again. This rejection is protection. Rejection is protection. So a lot of times when we think about being rejected, like I said, we think of it as some personal failure or something that is wrong with us, but that's not the truth. When we look at it from an energetic standpoint, we need to think about how, okay, am I actually in charge, or is God, spirit, source, my higher power in charge? And so a lot of times, because we have a limited perspective with our egos as humans, we can think like, okay, well, I want that thing, and that thing is for me, or this person, or this job, or this house, or this whatever, right? We say, I want that one. And then we're so sure and we're so focused that that's what we want because it's the best decision we can make based on our understanding at that time. And so a lot of times, again, because rejection is seen as a personal failure, if something doesn't link up or match up with us, we can think, oh, well, what did I do wrong that thing didn't want me back, or that thing didn't work out for me, or this didn't become a certain thing, right? But with this first one thing about rejection is protection. If you really believe in your soul of souls and your heart of hearts and the deepest part of your being that your higher power loves you unconditionally and is looking out for you and wants the best for you, then we have to believe that rejection is protection, right? We cannot think that I can make a better decision than God, right? And just a reminder, God is not a police officer in the sky. God is not this being that is sitting up there ready to smite us, despite all the programming that we have around our higher power, whatever word you use to associate with that, right? So if we really believe in our heart of hearts that our higher power loves us unconditionally, wants what's best for us, that cannot coexist with the idea that I didn't get this because I'm being punished. Rejection is always about protection. And also, this isn't just rejection in the current moment, but it can be, if something is delayed. So even if there's some delay, that can feel like rejection of like, well, I want that one and I want it now. And so again, if you really believe in divine timing, if we believe in the divine intelligence that is looking out for us, then we can't have that coexist with the thought that, well, I'm being punished. Rejection is protection. Okay, so just think about that, embody it, say it to yourself a few times. And you can even think about some examples of your life where you really wanted this one thing, and then, a year, 2 years, 10 years later, you find out, wow, really glad that was not the thing that worked out for me. So just calling on your own experiences to affirm that within yourself. Second thing with this is, a lot of times, again, when we're thinking about our limited human ego perspective, we can be like, that's the thing I want, and I want it now, and I like it because it has A, B, C, D, and E about it, and that fits all my things, and I'm so excited. And that's how I know it's for me. But on the other side of that, because we do not have the full vision of everything, because we cannot see what's going on in the energetic field, some things are hidden from us, right? We have no idea about some things that we can't see right away just from the face value. So something might look shiny and bright and amazing and wonderful, but there's actually something that we can't see or don't know about, or we're being hidden from, that's going on there that isn't a match for us. So even if this thing has 9 out of 10 things that I really want, this job or this relationship or this house I want to move into, even if it has 9 out of 10 things that I want, that one thing, or maybe more than one thing, could be enough that would make all that stuff not worth it. So it could be the best, most amazing job in the world, but then it turns out your boss is really abusive and would make your life living hell. And so you are protected from that. Or, you know, you want this, you think you want this one car and it's so amazing and it looks so good on the outside and they just got all new seats and there are all these things that's like, yes, this is my whole checklist, but turns out, you know, the carburetor doesn't run or doesn't work, right? So there's just this is part of having faith. But part of having faith is knowing that we might not know everything that's going on. And sometimes we get protected from things that we might not ever know about. There are definitely times and situations we can recall within ourselves where we're like, wow, thank God that didn't work out for me, because you find out again, a year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, later, why it didn't work out. But there's some things that we don't know why they didn't work out. And part of having faith is, again, knowing that, okay, there must be something in that person, in that job, in that home, in that whatever, that if I would have been able to move forward with that, would have actually been incredibly detrimental, harmful, or just not the best match for me in my life. And so again, part of having faith is knowing that like God knows better than we do, and also knowing that we can't see the whole picture. So having faith with that. And then the last thing about reframing rejection that I want to say is sometimes, because rejection can feel so personal and can feel like a personal failure, and can feel like it's something wrong with me, and especially if our childhood wounding is activated, that can make us be like, well, I'm going to show them, I'm going to win them over, I'm going to convince them to give me this, I'm going to whatever. And there's definitely times where we need to do that to stand up for ourselves or whatever. But if you are convincing someone to be in a relationship with you, if you are convincing someone to give you something when all the doors are energetically like, please try something else, this is not working for you, just take a moment and really think, do I really want that? If I had to convince, lie, cheat, steal, manipulate, fight, go back and forth for 100 years, whatever it is, if I really had to do that, do I actually want that? Or is that my ego just being like, I'm going to show you who's really the rejected one. I'm going to show you what you're missing out on. Again, very, very unhealthy dynamics that most of us are taught and exposed to, especially mainstream media. But you have to really think, if I have to convince this thing to choose me, do I really want to do that? And most of the time, the answer is no. Sometimes if you're dealing with an unhealthy situation and you need to stand up for yourself or set some boundaries or something like this, then okay, it might be a situation where you need to do that. But in general, if you have to convince something to choose you, just remind yourself you deserve more than that. That can feel like an ego win, or can feel like, oh, look what I accomplished, or look what I did. But again, you have to remind yourself that there are so many things for you that will come easily, that will come by choice, that will choose you with no games, no problems, no whatever, right? And again, you have to know yourself and tap into yourself enough to know whether like 1 or 2 obstacles on the way to get that is just the bumps in the road and things you have to go through, right? We don't want to give up or just be like, oh, that's not for me because like the wind blew this way instead of that way when I was trying to work for it, right? So you have to know within yourself if this is you being pushed into something else, and you can pray about it, you can ask for guidance. But a lot of the times, if it feels like you're ramming your head against the wall, or you are giving so much and getting so little back, that's when you can really feel like, okay, this is not actually a thing for me, because I have to do all this work, and things that are for me can be easy, can be peaceful, can choose me. And I know those are the only things I want in my life. Like, I only want the things that overwhelmingly want me. I only want things that are look at me or come in contact with me and our energies are just like yes, that's it, the end, we're crystal clear, there's no confusion, there's no mixed messages, there's no back and forth. So just really taking a moment and really thinking like, wow, if I have to convince something to choose me, do I really want that? A lot of times that's overcompensating for our own internal wounding and things that we haven't healed within ourselves. There's no judgment. We've been there. I've been there. It's part of life, right? But just thinking about that and moving forward. Okay, so I hope these things help you reframe rejection. And then the last thing I want to say about this too is, as usual, I do not condone spiritual bypassing. So it's totally healthy and normal to feel disappointed if something doesn't work out that you wanted. So definitely give yourself permission to feel what you feel if something doesn't work out, or if you feel like you were rejected from something. It's okay if you worked on making this lease work for a month and then it fell through, or you thought you made it to the final round of this job and you were so excited and then you didn't end up getting the job, or you thought you were going to be featured on this thing but then you weren't and then it didn't work out. So it's okay and healthy and normal to invest in something, get your hopes up, put your time and energy into it, and then feel disappointed that it didn't work out how you thought. That's totally okay, totally reasonable. But what is not healthy, what I don't want us to encourage to do is get to the point where we get so stuck in the rejection that we feel so out of control about it. And we can feel like, oh, well, there's no way this is going to work out for me now, or that was the only thing for me, or that was this, or that was whatever, right? So the point of this video is not so you become a robot who doesn't care about anything and who doesn't want the best for themselves and who doesn't want things to work out. Like, that's definitely obviously not what I'm condoning. So definitely give yourself permission to feel disappointed. You can give yourself permission to feel upset if you were really invested in getting to know this person and then they turned out to be someone different than you thought, right? So that's totally okay and normal to have that response. It's a human response to a human experience, totally allowed. But where it can get unhealthy is if you get so hung up on that one rejection that you don't move forward or try again with your life. Because if you believe that your higher power is looking out for you and loves you, then there is so much in this world that is waiting to find you and like wants you. What you seek is seeking you. And so if we get so hung up on these certain things that we don't move forward, and don't rush it, you have plenty of time. So you don't need to, again, don't spiritually bypass yourself. Don't make yourself feel stupid if, you feel upset or disappointed that something didn't work out. Again, that's part of being human. I think it's very healthy and very important to be like, wow, I wanted that thing and it didn't work out and now I'm upset. Again, very reasonable, very reasonable thing to do in life. Okay, so don't gaslight yourself. Don't beat yourself up. It's okay to feel disappointed, but just remember, you can soothe yourself by saying rejection is protection. What's my childhood wounding that's activated here that maybe I can affirm myself through that space? Or just remind yourself, I want things that willingly choose me. What I seek is seeking me. If it's not this, it's something better. I have faith in my higher power. Any of those affirmations can serve you with this. Okay, thank you so much. I hope this served you. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.